The government removed one of the principles of trauma-informed care on one of their websites, and I call bullshit. I'm going to read from my notes here because my neurodivergent brain is all activated, and it'll be 1,000 takes to get right otherwise. You see it all the time in comments on social media. Don't make this political. It's a bullshit sentiment often made by people who don't want to face accountability for the beliefs they hold that absolutely influence their vote, or by people who are privileged enough to believe that they don't have to care about what happens in politics. They want to live in a bubble where they just don't have to think about the difficult things. Everything is political. Whether you vote or not, the quality of air you breathe, food you eat, and water you drink is determined by legislation and regulation. We live within borders determined by politics. What we learn in school is foundational knowledge that informs our perception of history, science, arts and humanities, and beyond. Education is influenced by the political choices we make. So is the health care you receive, or don't receive, or about not to receive if you're following the news about how the Medicaid cuts that will be rolling out after midterms will result in the cutbacks and closures of hundreds of hospitals around the country. Mental health resources are affected as well. When this regime started their hate-fueled shenanigans after coming to power in early 2025, I followed the news about how scientists and science lovers alike were saving as much as they could from government websites before DOJ got their grubby little ogre claws all over them. Inspired, I downloaded a bunch of information from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration, and I'm glad I did, because they did indeed make some unwelcome changes that affect people. Ever since the medical crisis in 2021 led to several new diagnoses that changed my world, I've been talking about the importance of trauma-informed care. I've given talks about patient experience in trauma-informed care to healthcare professionals and medical students, and it's this core topic of this platform that I'm building called the Shapeshifting Crone. I'm currently working on a new presentation and just wanted to double check the government website to see if my worries were warranted. They were. So what did they change under Secretary Brainworm's watch? Here's what was originally there. The 6 principles of trauma-informed care are safety, peer support, trustworthiness and transparency, collaboration and mutuality, cultural, historical, and gender issues, and empowerment, voice, and choice. Want to take a wild guess as to which one went missing? If you said cultural, historical, and gender issues, that's exactly right. To be clear, I did find the original 6 principles of trauma-informed care on an archived page in the CDC stacks, but it was just the infographic, and there's a banner at the top telling you that the page is out of date, and it directs you to another link to another topic. If you care about mental health, you cannot say that removing cultural, historical, and gender issues is not important. It absolutely is, and it's profoundly damaging. Yes, I know that's their intent. The cruelty is the point. They said so themselves. Remember when the architect of Project 2025 and current director of the Office of Management and Budget said he wanted to put people in trauma? They want to punish everyone who's not like them. They're attempting to erase the lived experience who have been traumatized by racism and gender-based hate. We're living through a wave of cruelty, willful ignorance, and destruction that is most definitely familiar to people who have been harmed by racism and misogyny. These are unprecedented times in that the broader population is now experiencing what minorities have for centuries. The more work I do to raise awareness about complex PTSD, the more I see how deep that damage runs in this country. Because of the stigma around mental health, there are a lot of people out there who have never even considered the idea of looking inward, and I often wonder what the world would look like if they did. And I mean digging deep, not some download this app and you'll be healed in 30 days challenge. This is political because it's a government resource, and it took decades of advocacy to make these resources available. Trauma-informed care is essential, and it's very much a health equity issue, which is of course why they eliminated it. Everything about it is on their list of forbidden words and concepts. I know, there's a lot going on now, and we could argue about priorities and what to focus on until the cows come home, but they said it themselves. We want to put them in trauma. People who've been living with trauma are enduring more and more, and those who thought it could never happen to them are finding out that it can. We see it every day in tearful posts of people who are losing everything under this administration. It's important. It's political. And someday, when we have the opportunity to build something new after this wreckage caused by this administration, trauma-informed policy should be centered for the benefit of all. Anyway, if you're interested in learning more about the biology of complex PTSD, polyvagal theory, trauma-informed care, disability rights, and research summaries about chronic conditions like endometriosis and long COVID, hit the follow button because this old crone's just getting started.